2004 Honda Element with over 200,000 miles, still going strong. Let's take a look. So many people ask me sometimes what kind of SUV they should buy. If you're looking for one that doesn't break the bank, that's really a utility SUV, as in the interior doesn't have any frills. It's made to actually do dirty type things like haul a cage of chickens or something. You do work with it, but also you don't want to worry about getting the interior dirty. This vehicle, the interior is designed to be washed out with a garden hose. There's plastic everywhere. Plastic, plastic, plastic. It's utility. I really like these. It's been a while since I've had this one in the shop, or really any of the Elements in the shop, and I finally got one here. I wanted to show you guys a true utility SUV that you could buy that doesn't cost 120 grand. So this is definitely the vehicle for you. And like I said, it has over 200,000 miles. It is a Honda, and it has lived up to its name of longevity. Again, Toyota being the top as far as longevity and quality, Honda is right behind them. It's a very good vehicle. This one's in for a whopping 300 bucks. That's right. It doesn't always have to be 20 grand to get your car fixed. We'll talk about that here in a little bit, but let's take a look around this thing. I want to show you guys how cool this is. Here we are at the front of this Element, and you can see right away it does not have body painted panels in the front and rear. It has plastic cladding that is scratch proof, and it really shines, showing that it is a utility vehicle. You could go through the weeds or grass or whatever and not worry about scratching your paint. This is actually plastic. Has simple steel wheels, which I actually like the look of them. As you can see, the rocker molding also is plastic on these, so you don't have to worry about scratching those. And then it continues as you go to the rear. More of the cladding again. You don't have to worry about scratching your paint. If it does get scratched, who cares? It's just plastic. You can probably sand it and smooth it out. This one's black in color. As you can see, the paint is in good shape. Wheels and tires are in good shape. It's amazing how nice it looks for over 200,000 miles. Let's go ahead and hop under the hood. Here is our 2.4 liter four-cylinder, which is the way I would have it. I would not want this vehicle with a V6 because it is much, much easier to work on. It'll get better fuel economy. And as you can see, this has had aftermarket cruise control installed years and years ago. This is back in the day. A lot of us may not even remember. We're young enough. There was a day that you could purposely buy a car without cruise control. You say, I don't need that, I don't want it. That's really not an option in 2023. The dealership would probably look at you and go, what? But obviously this one was purchased that way, and then after the fact they added cruise control. So it's kind of interesting to see that. But we've serviced this vehicle. It's been in several times to take care of various issues it's had over the years. It's never been anything major or catastrophic. As you can see, it's not leaking oil all over the place or any issues or anything. But it did have a check engine light. And let me show you the little sensor down here. You can see a little red light. I'll wiggle it. It's right there in between the two intake runners. There is a NOx sensor down there. It's bolted to the block. It's not too hard to get to, but it is hard to see. And you can see right there my little laser going back and forth. It's right in that area. So the only reason why this vehicle was here is because the check engine light would go on and then go off, back and forth. All I had to do was hook the scan tool to it, and it was very easy to see there was a code for a failed NOx sensor. And this is it. I'm used to these being 20 bucks or 30 bucks, but the OEM Honda ones, 60, 80, 100 bucks, depending on where you buy them. They're not as cheap as I thought it would be. But we did have some time diagnosis, and the part, it's going to be probably under $300, guys. I just kind of rounded it up to give a good figure, but it's going to go way under that probably. Really, it's not a whole lot of money to get this solved. That's the only reason it's here. Let's go ahead and hop into the interior and show, just like I mentioned, how utilitarian it really is.
Okay, ladies and gents, there it is, 202,089. That's quite a few miles on this, and this is not the first time I've been in this car. This car is actually owned by one of my coworkers. I've ridden in here a number of times, and it is very, very cool to ride in here. Dash is looking great. Definitely got some breath mints in there. Got to keep those teenagers because she works with me. We work in the same school together, and she is an artist. So this is a perfect car for an artist because look at all that plastic. If something were to happen, you can just easily wipe it up and not worry about major stains on the carpet because it's covered. There isn't anything down there. But look at that door card. Look, more plastic and plastic. And sometimes we think plastic is a bad thing, but when you're utilitarian, it's perfect. The doors are very solid. That plastic isn't budging one bit. And there's a little bit of a kind of a hidey hole map holder down there as well. The seats are fabric with two tones of light gray and dark gray, and they're in good shape. Very, again, functional. There's no rips or tears over there. Not a lot of bolster, but you don't really go around corners very quick in this thing. It's kind of a Borg-shaped cube. As we move to our back seat, some interesting facts. Those seats, they do fold down. And you'll notice that in between the seats is a bit of a C-clamp, and those can actually hang from up there at the kind of the grab bar, coat hanger, whatever bar you want to call that up there. And they can hang and make this entire floor space empty, which again is made with more plastic matting. Each passenger in the back does get their own cup holder, but it is a 4-seater. This does not have space for a 5-seater. You cannot sit in the middle. Does have a rear sunroof, and the top of the car is looking really good. There's no marks, no Cheeto fingers up there because her kiddos are all adults. One thing that's really cool, Wizard's going to help us, is that it is a 2-door, but a 4-door. It does have a suicide back door, which opens up to a really big space. And I've ridden back there a time or so when we've gone to lunch on our teacher work days. So it's a really big space, and it's kind of reminiscent to the back door on many trucks today. As we end up here at our steering wheel, Wizard did mention that aftermarket cruise control, and there it is. It doesn't appear stock, but obviously it's quite functional, and it's in a very easy to access spot, being there just behind the steering wheel. So it's looking in fabulous shape for this many miles. Let's see what it looks like on the underneath.
And here we are on the underneath. Again, more plastic. And one place I forgot to mention, it does have plastic on the roof rails on this thing as well. So there's lots and lots of plastic. Here's our transaxle, nice and dry. Oil pan has a tiny, tiny seepage, but it's not worth even messing with right now. It's not even dripping on the ground. Brakes look good. CV boots look good. Sway bar link is good. Everything's nice and tight there. Brakes are good there. CV boots are good. Strut is dry. Sway bar link is good. Everything's tight there. Here's another one of those drive shafts I've talked about before, that when the U-joints go bad, you have to buy the whole shaft. And it's because the U-joints are not serviceable on these. It's very strange. I've replaced several of these on CRVs, and also they use the same style on the Element. One thing that's cool about these is they have these like bars, or like crash bars or something, because the fuel tank is right here. So if you were to hit an obstacle, it would hit this bar and kind of protect the tank from all the damage. If you see these driving down the road, you can actually look under the car and you can see this little barrier here. These are some of the vehicles that are favorites for people that steal catalytic converters to steal them, because they can lay on the ground, cut it here, take your cat, and leave. Actually happened to our daughter. It's since been repaired and taken care of, but it's definitely not fun. Here's our resonator, muffler, everything's looking good there. Here's our rear differential, U-joint's good, sway bar link is good, strut is dry. Check these brakes, they're good as well, nothing loose. Sway bar link is good, CV boots are good. Strut is dry, or shock I should say. Brakes are good. Nothing loose there. Here's our exhaust tip out the back. Let's go ahead and check the tires. So let's find the date code on these and see how old they are. 18th week of 2022. So they are good. So I don't have to recommend any tires or even mess with the tires. Let's go ahead and get this thing on the ground. Sorry to interrupt the music. I know you guys really love it. But I wanted to show you while we're midway down, as it's coming down, how easy it is to get to the steering rack on these. It's literally like a walk in the park to replace it. I'll go to the other side and I'll shine my light through this channel that's here. Hello? Can you see me?
Hi, Wizard.
Look at that, guys. All this space. You unhook the lines, unhook the bolts and these long tie rods, and it comes right out the side. No major teardown, no subframes coming out, nothing stupid like that. It's really, really easy to work on these cars. Okay, now I'll let you guys get back to the music. We'll get this thing back on the ground. So if you haven't noticed already, this thing is designed for one thing in mind: utility and ease of cleaning it whenever you've done what you need to do. They last a long time. They're not super expensive. If you're looking for a not break your bank type of a utility vehicle, this is definitely one to get. Unfortunately, it's kind of sad, they discontinued these not too long ago. They made these from 03 to 11, which is a pretty good run, but I wish that they still made them. They're actually very, very cool. Another one that's kind of a kindred or a cousin to it, or actually it's not really a cousin, I guess, but it's the Toyota FJ Cruiser, and although it's meant for serious off-roading, the utility idea is still there. In the inside of an FJ Cruiser, and it has the same rearward swinging door and everything like that. It's also designed that you could basically open all the doors, get a garden hose, and literally wash your interior out. You can't do that with a Lexus GX460. You could, but you'll ruin the leather, the wood, maybe a lot of modules and things. These things are made to, whether you be an artist or a farmer or something like that, that you can use it, not worry about scratching it, and clean it very, very easily. And it's really stupid that they discontinued these, especially the FJ Cruisers, because if you check Facebook Marketplace, those things are going for more than new pricing, because everybody wants one. They want a nice one, a 2014, which was the last year. They go for 30 and 40 and 50 grand, more than they were when they were new, because the demand is so high. Why would Toyota not make them anymore? I don't get it. Oh, the demand's too low. No, it's not. The only thing that Honda still makes is somewhat utilitarian to be the Honda Fit. It's much smaller than this, and it's obviously not going to have all the all-wheel drive ability and everything that this one has. So 5 to 10 grand range, which in today's world, that's not breaking the bank. Even though that's not cheap, that's actually a really good deal. You could pick up one of these, and as you can see, it'll last you a long time. Every time it's been in here, it's been something simple, just like the knock sensor we just showed you. We're going to replace, well, actually we already have replaced it, and then the car's back on the road again for less than 300 bucks. You can't beat that. The owner of this car has actually named it Ellie. She actually is very interested in taking care of it and making it last as long as possible. She doesn't want to hurt it. She doesn't want to break it. She's always brought it here to get it serviced, and we always keep her on the road. But if you can find one of these with 100, 120,000 miles, even 150, it still has a lot of life left in it. Our daughter's has 240,000 miles, and it drives every day to work, back and forth. It doesn't break down. It doesn't give issues. The last time I checked the oil, I had expected it to maybe be a little low because the engines use oil these days. Not that one. It's still the same level it was 2 months ago. So as you can see behind me, there's a big pile of junk, and Crazy D is always ragging on Daniel on how junky Ferraris are. He hates Ferraris. He says they're crap, they're junk, they always break. And he made a joke a little while ago. Daniel was walking by, and so was Crazy D. And Crazy D said, "Look, it must have been a Ferrari parked there. It left its parts behind. Those things are such piles of crap." No, Ferraris really aren't crappy. I'd almost rather work on those than some of the other cars. That's actually some parts of one of Hoovie's projects. You'll have to check out his channel on Hoovie's Garage to catch up with his 996. We're actually doing some modifications to it. You'll have to check out his channel again to find out the information on that. But this wasn't a big job. It's not very expensive. It doesn't always have to be. I just wanted to show you guys what, before this thing left, a really good, true utility car. There's a lot of utility SUV sport utility vehicles out there that really don't do the utility so well. This one definitely does. So make sure to check one of these out if you're interested in that particular type of a car. If you're curious what kind of tools we used on this car, which really wasn't very many, or anywhere in the shop, check my Amazon affiliates link in the description below. We get a small cut and we really appreciate it. And make sure to hit the subscribe button because more cars are coming in, which means more videos for you guys. Thanks for watching.